Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. It's Jim. We're going to look at the Dromida short course truck, and this is kind of a follow-up to my video yesterday about trying to free up the suspension. I think most of the stiffness is coming from the ball and socket joints on the front end, and that would explain partly why it's worse on the front. I think it's also more noticeable when this happens on the front because it depends on that suspension to help it steer and hug the ground like it should. So what you can see here is one of the socket ends that I've already modified, and I've got a couple laying here we're gonna do. I'll show you how I do that. I did an earlier video where I actually just drill out this socket with a drill. I would here's one that's not been done. I would just take that and use a drill bit that just fits that, and then just drill straight through it and make the hole on the back side. What I think I've found is that it's just as easy and probably better to do it with a razor blade. One of the drawbacks on this, which I won't know until I try running it, is if they're going to end up popping off in a wreck, in a crash, which I don't doubt will happen. So this is yet to be seen how well this is going to work, and I'm not sure that this is the final solution, but that's what I'm going to try now, and we'll just see how it goes. So let me move the car out of the way here and see if I can get this in the frame for you. Here's a stock shock, and you can see on this one that there's a hole in there, and it's a little different than the way the rest of the links are. These are solid. There is no hole there, and I'm not sure why they do that. If anybody knows, I'm curious. They're just a little bit different design, but they basically are designed to snap onto the same ball stud. So what I'm doing is on this one, and this is the standard link, I'm just going to take the razor blade. I'm taking it, can you see that? I'm taking it on its side so that I can lay the razor blade on this flat part of that hex up there, and then I'm going to angle it a little bit. I'm trying to keep it square with the top and the bottom opening, angling it. And be careful when you're doing this, because it just looks like a good way to hurt yourself. So I just sliced straight down through it, taking off the top of that, so now you can see right through it. It leaves less flash. Use a good sharp razor blade than drilling it. When you drill that, it leaves a lot of flashing around the hole where you've drilled it. I've used a uni bit, but I think you'd need a really sharp, good uni bit to make that work really good. And this gives it a little bit more room to expose the top end. I should have hooked this on here earlier. Let's do the one I haven't modified yet, and we'll poke it on here. And then you can kind of see how this one's not terrible, but you can tell that it's a little bit stiff. It doesn't just fall down. And now we'll pop that off and put this side on, and with any luck it will be free. So there you can see how it's loose. I mean, it's not going to come off, but it probably would come off in a wreck. But that's a lot different than the other end of it. Then it's the same process on the shock socket ends. Just laying the razor blade on there. I'm trying to stay parallel to the opening, and then I'm just angling it a little bit towards the center line to give it a little bit more open on the back side. These are a little bit harder because there's no hex. So there you can see on that one maybe that I didn't get it square, so I'm going to lay it down this way. That way I know it's flat on the bottom, and then just push the razor blade through that direction and open it up that way. And then that, I'd like to see that just a little bit bigger than that, but let's pop it on here and see how this one works. So you can see that one's really tight, so that's a problem. So let's pop that off and try to trim it again. And I just pulled this out of the drawer, so it's probably not clean either, and that'd be a big influence. So let's try trimming a little bit more off of here. that's probably plenty. I think what's going to happen is it's going to get to a point where they're going to pop on and off too easily. Yeah, that's better, but it's still not loose. And on the shock, it's probably not as critical. I think on the other links, it's really going to restrict the movement. This isn't rotating much. It's going to go up and down. So I mean, it is rotating a little bit, but not nearly like these other spots rotating quite a bit. Let's see if we can do one more here. See if maybe we can get that a little better. And that could just be, let me grab another shock and just try another one at random. So here's a new shock, or an old shock. Yeah, and I see that one's almost loose to begin with. So I wouldn't even do much to that one. And for me, and that's probably another good solution now that I think of it, is I can go through my box of old spare used shocks, and I'll steal that one and put it on in place of one that's too tight. But that's the plan. I'll post an update here probably in a week or so after I race the truck again next weekend and let you know how this works. See you later.